My name is Chris Detzel. I'm the Director of Customer Community and Engagement, and we have a special guest, Carina Alabanza. Sorry, see, if I think about that too much, I'll mess it up for sure. She's a Senior Manager of UX here at Reltio, and she has been on. You've been on like several months ago. Maybe it was the first of the year or something like that. Yep. I can't remember. So it's not your first time. So certainly appreciate you coming on again. And today's topic is how data stewards, analysts, and business users can get the most out of the new Reltio UI. As usual, keep yourself on mute. All questions should be asked in chat, or please take yourself off mute and then ask, and then put yourself on mute. But I will make sure all the questions get answered. And then the show will be recorded and posted to the community, probably not until Monday-ish, but definitely we'll get that out. And then there's 3 shows left. This includes one for the rest of the year. Today's show on how data stewards, analysts, and business users get the most out of the Reltio UI. And then kind of a higher level topic around emerging trends in data management. And then we do get a little bit more deeper on building complex survivorship strategies and data modeler within Reltio, of course. So really some two more great events coming up as well. Certainly excited about that. And Carina, I'm going to stop sharing and hand it off to you.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you. Let me share my screen.
And just, as you do that, just if you can tell a little bit about yourself and
sure.
That'd be
stop my video while I share.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris. So my name is Carina Alabanza, and I had the user experience here at Reltio. So it's really an absolute pleasure for me to be part of this webinar along with Chris. And for today's session, let me actually present this. Okay. So for today's session in the next hour or so, what I'll be doing is I'll be walking you through some of the main capabilities of the new Reltio UI, really focusing on and deep diving into the profile page, potential matches, dashboard, and a new enhanced navigation paradigm that we're going to give you a sneak peek on. And our goal after today's session is for you to be more equipped with the knowledge of how to get started with the new UI. And also how to better understand to leverage the new capabilities and features that we have added so that you and your team can be more productive. Okay. So
Perfect.
Today's agenda, like I mentioned, will focus mostly on profile, potential matches, dashboard, and then we'll be introducing a new enhanced Reltio UI navigation at the latter end of the session today. So for profile UI, we'll go over how to configure, model the new UI layout. We'll also look at how you and your team can personalize the layout based on your user experience. For potential matches, we'll go through some of the key features that we've added to help you and your team be more productive. And dashboard, we'll go through how to create a new chart, how you can then personalize this page based on the user different goals. And then finally, we're super excited about this new Reltio UI navigation that we have come up with. We received a lot of feedback on our current navigation. We listened, read them all, and designed a new paradigm that will make it more efficient and seamless to navigate within the application. All right, so let me go through the UI with you all. All right, so this is the classic UI. You guys should all be pretty familiar with this UI. And so from here, we have added this button in the header for you to switch to the new UI. So by clicking on this button, it navigates you to the new UI. And I have a tab here open for the new UI. So once you click on it, it will then navigate you here. And so the biggest difference really is this navigation here on the left, right, for the new UI. And you can try out the new UI without any risk of permanently switching to it. You can go back to the classic UI if you want to, by clicking on this profile icon here and then clicking on switch back to classic UI. So that's a way for you to go back to the classic UI. Okay, so here I am in the new Reltio UI, and let's go take a profile page. So the biggest difference between the new UI profile page and the classic UI is the column layout. So in the new UI, we have adopted a 4-column layout. So as you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the reason for that is that we wanted to really surface more information, more valuable information about the profile above the fold of the screen, so that it doesn't force you to have to scroll through the page, especially when you have a lot of information in the profile. So if I were to take this and go to so this is the classic one, right? So this only has a 3-column layout. And notice here, there's lots of dead space here, especially if I don't have this panel open. And a lot of the times people won't have this panel open for profile. So there's a lot of dead space here. So we wanted to really utilize a lot of this space for more information for your profile. So that's really the biggest difference. And the other one really is the ability for you to personalize your view. So as a data steward, you can go ahead and reorder a lot of these facets right here. You can resize this facet to your liking. Like this, you can make it the width larger. You can reorder it, move it around. And the reason why we did that is we understand that there really are different needs and goals based on roles. And so we wanted to make it more flexible for our users to have the ability to create a view that works for them. And so what happens is if I were to reorganize or relay out this UI, this view will persist for all profiles within that entity type. So if I were to navigate to another profile, then that setting that I had just done will persist throughout. Okay. So now let's take the example of I'm a data steward admin, and I want to set the default view for all of my users for a specific entity type. And the way that I would do that is I would go to console, and then I would go to the UI modeler. Then I would select the profile page entity type in which I want to then model the UI for. In the new UI, there are some of our customers had some issues with their profile page being all jumbled up, right? So we had released a feature that had since fixed that issue. And so with that feature, once this loads, I'll show you. This feature allows you, it does two things. One, it fixes the issue of the jumbled up UI layout that some of our customers were experiencing in the profile UI. So I encourage you to please try it out. Let us know if you are still experiencing it, and we'll investigate that issue further. But it should have fixed it. The other feature is that now you have the ability to model your UI for the classic and also the new view. So what I'm seeing here is I'm currently in organization, right? I'm currently modeling the profile page for the classic view, for the classic version. If I want to model the UI version for the new view, all I have to do is click on this switch. It goes to the new view. And notice here again, it's that 4-column layout, right? So this then allows you to model this new UI in your lower environments, publish it out into your test environments, test it out. And once you're satisfied with it, then you can go ahead and publish this out into your production environments. So that we have added this switch recently. So again, please try it out to see if the new UI and see how you can then model it in the new view. Okay. So that's the profile UI. I wanted to answer some questions. I wanted this kind of to be more interactive too. So if you have any questions on the profile UI, please let me know before I move on to potential matches.
So no question, but Kurt did make a comment. He said, I like the small facets available in the 4-column view, but it would also be great to be able to click on any one of them and have it pop up into a larger expression of itself, so I can scroll through its contents, then collapse it again when I'm done.
Great feedback. We'll definitely look into that.
Yeah, and I asked him to push it out as an idea so that one, we can remember it, and then two, we can get others to vote for it.
Cool. Okay.
And Carina, from here, how do you get back, or is it still available over on the right side, the that other panel that has the activity? I mean the update activity in it. The one,
You
the
mean
panel.
history?
Oh, there we go. Okay, history.
Yeah,
Right.
it's still available here in the right panel. So we have history, we have also collaboration, and we have workflow.
Cool. Very cool. Thank you.
Yep, no worries.
Yeah. So no other questions as of yet. So
Perfect. Okay, so let's move on to potential matches, which is also an exciting page that, so let's search for a profile with potential matches.
So we do have a question, my apologies. But Kelly asks, when you update the facets and it persists across other orgs, is the change only for data stewards, making it for all of it?
Oh, good question. That's something that I forgot to mention. So yes, let me answer that really quick. Okay. So if I were to create or model this UI using the UI modeler and I were to publish it, this now becomes the default view for all of the users for that specific entity type. However, if I was a data steward and I were to just move these facets around within the UI, these changes are only reflected for me on my view. So it doesn't get reflected to other views. So it doesn't affect any of my team members.
So from the UI modeler, then you're not able to you're not able to model separate views at this point for different roles.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Great. Thanks, Carina. That's a
Sure.
good question. So.
Okay, so let me go back to search and let me search for.
So if I change something, like this, like the default can I go back to the default if I changed it for myself, let's say?
Yes. So you can go back to the default. Well, the admin has to again push out the default view. So that's something we are definitely working on, where they can maybe reset.
Got it.
Which then we'll reset it back to that default view.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Do we have the capability, like in the earlier versions of Reltio, the organization will be in red, green color or blue color, something like that. So do we have the color differentiation?
Are you talking about in the profile?
Oh, yes. See, it says organization. If it is a OPSI or customer or vendor, something like that, will it differentiate with the color code too?
Yes. So this still remains. So for example, this organization has this kind of, I don't know, turquoise color. Yes.
Okay. So if it is a customer, then it might be, I'm just
another
taking an
color.
example. Yeah, it's in green or red, something. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. We'll still have that. And I believe also the icons, the default icons, if you don't have any image kind of uploaded.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Any other questions in profile?
Can you demo HCP UI as well? Is that going to be done here or no?
What in particular did you guys want to see in HCP UI? I mean, it's so I'm demoing organization because that's the tenant, the
Yeah.
entity type in the tenant I have, but the features and functionalities more or less will be the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where can I see the research page on the profile view with the new UI? It used to be next to history, discussion, and workflows.
Yeah, so we have removed the history page. I mean, so history rather, the research page. So it was available in the classic. We have removed it in the new. We did look at data, and it wasn't getting a lot of usage, so we decided to deprecate that feature.
Okay. Thank you.
And if we want to see a history, what changes happened and who did the changes, then if we have that, okay. So
Yeah, we have history. Yeah, this is definitely a very useful feature. So
Exactly.
the history will remain the same. So if you were to click on any of these other events, it will show you the different changes, what changed, what got deleted, etc.
True. So, and one more thing. So, since we have a DNB attributes here, so Reltio has a direct connectivity with DNB to get the information, the Duns and Bradstreet number.
For this, yeah, for this specific tenant, it does. It has that configured.
Okay, so how do we get that number? Do we have any call? Do we have to make any calls by clicking a button to get the Duns number for this particular organization or something?
Oh, you mean
Or we
how do
have-
we get that configured in a tenant? The DUNS, that I need to get back to you on, and I'll ask some of the product manager to answer that question. I'll get back
Okay.
to you on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
Carina,
one more.
I'm going to ask you to keep going. There are lots of questions starting to come in on the chat, but why don't we get through some of this and then we'll go back to the questions.
All right,
Is that
sounds
fair?
good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're here at the potential matches page. So what you see here, right, it's more or less the similar view like in the classic UI. You have this column view, you can compare the different attributes against one another. But one thing that we've added is this highlight. So as you could see here, the city is highlighted and it's in bold, in addition to also the latitude and longitude. And that is because what we do is that we have identified the attribute values that match with the profile that we're comparing it against, and we highlight it for you to make it a lot easier for you to review, evaluate the different profiles and make it faster for you to also make a decision. So that was one great addition. Also, we understand how different businesses have different needs in terms of when, what to compare the potential matches. So some of these attributes may or may not be relevant to you. So currently the default view will be configurable, but at the same time, you also have the flexibility of reorganizing this attribute list to your liking. So if, for example, address is really important for me when I make a decision of when something is not a match, when I need to merge something. Whereas maybe phone number, as you can see, or maybe it's blank, the fill rate isn't so high. So it's not really as important for me when I make a decision. So one thing that I could do is I can go ahead and I can hide this row from my view. So then I can then focus on those relevant attributes that is really important to me. So I can either click on these ellipses button here when I hover over it and I say hide row and it hides it. Or another way that I could do it is clicking on this icon and searching for that attribute and then unselecting that checkbox. And in much the same way, if I were to want to add an attribute here, I can go ahead and click that checkbox. So let's go ahead and remove that. And then we can go ahead and add another attribute, for example, name. Okay. So let's hide this row. Okay. So now that we have name here, right? And it's at the bottom. So if I were to add anything, it adds it from the bottom. But name is really important to me when I make my decision. And I don't want it to be at the bottom. I don't want to go through, scroll through so many other attributes just to get to the name. So one thing that we've also added is the ability for me to go ahead and and move that row and move the location of that row. So I moved it here at the top, as you see here. So now it's at the top. This is great. This is basically the view that I want. And this setting will persist as I move to another profile. Right? So it'll basically save that view or that setting in that table format that I've done. So that's the addition that we have. And then in addition to also that, so let's say I'm here and I'm reviewing potential matches for Maryland. I see some of these matches and I want to say, okay, well, I want to find other profiles that may match with Maryland that my match rules may not have found, right? Or may not have tagged as suspect matches. So I can go ahead and use this keyword search and type in the name, right? To see if there are any profiles that match it. In addition to that, I can also refine these search results by going into the filter. So we have enhanced this filtering capability, and it's very similar to our advanced search, where I can go ahead and select an attribute, right? So I can either say, okay, well, Maryland, I want basically the city, right, to be Pennsylvania. Am I spelled Pennsylvania? Right, and then it will then filter that. So this is something that we've also enhanced, this filtering capability. And it's very similar to advanced search. So it's extremely powerful. Another thing that we've added here is in the Find Matches tab. So these are basically all of the profiles for this entity type in Find Matches. Let me clear this out. In the Find Matches tab, what we've added is this button here, and it says Save on Potential Matches, right? So let's say, for example, let's go ahead and search for Maryland again. And I want to, I want to save this profile on the potential matches. So what will happen is if I click on this button, this profile now will go to that potential matches tab. So the reason for that is that if I am not yet sure whether or not I want to merge or mark it as not a match, and I want someone else from my team to help me review it, it will save it in this potential matches tab. So then it kind of puts it in that bucket where others in my team can then review it and say, okay, yeah, I think that looks like a match, or maybe no, that's not a match. And so that's really the power of that feature. And finally, right now, as you could see, so let me add another profile here. Let's add that. All right, so now as you can see, I have 4 profiles here that I'm then comparing against this main profile, okay? At most, I can only have 4 profiles in my one view when I'm in column view. Now, for example, let's say I want to go ahead and review. I filtered out a specific match rule. This match rule is something that I trust a lot. These are all the potential matches that are coming from those match rules. But then there are more than 4 of these profiles, and I want to go ahead and quickly review it in bulk. So one way that I can do that is I can go ahead and switch my view to table view. So as you see here, now I am comparing the attributes vertically. See, now the name is here, and then the addresses, sources, email, etc. And so for the table view, I can review multiple or more profiles, so more than 4 profiles. I can go ahead and add these and other ones in my list if I have them. I can quickly review them in bulk, right? And then merge all, or I can go ahead and merge these individually. So this is a new view that we've added in the new UI, really allowing you to compare and review more than 4 profiles at a time.
Karina, and I'm going to start asking some of these questions now
Sure.
because there's quite a bit. I knew there would be. So I'm new to the to Reltio. Where can I see the crosswalks in the profile page?
Sure. So if you were to click, so from the search page, right? If you can, let's say you connected your search, you segmented your data and you click on a profile. So from here, this is your profile page and these are your profile subpages. So from here, you can click on sources. And what was the other page she wanted to see?
See the crosswalks in the profile
Okay.
page. That's it.
So this is it.
And then
Sources.
Kurt actually answered that. Thanks, Kurt. Are there trainings that are available? Are they going to be redone with the new UI view?
Yes, there are. And they're currently available, I believe. So there are training videos. We also have our documentation portal. So documented with the new UI.
Okay. So I've had issues double clicking in order to copy attribute. Is that just her, or it's what's she kind of left that. Is that just but
Copy?
she said she's having issues double clicking in order to copy attributes. Is that
Yeah,
could-
this is Kelly. I'm sorry.
sorry.
Basically what I'm saying is, we do some research and some issue resolution specifically for member demographic issues. So in that realm, we might want to copy and paste a social or some sort of other identifier or even a name so that we can paste it into some other, interface to be able to review that.
I see. So when you, for example, what you're doing is you're going in this name and you're double clicking and it copies this attribute too, right? Is that
correct? Yes, that's my issue.
Got it. Okay. I'll take this as thank you, Kelly. I'll take this as a feedback and we'll look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So data sources will have different colors, right? I think we answered that. Will it save the attributes selected?
Are you talking about sources? So data sources will have different colors. And then will it save the Oh, okay. So if I were, yes. So similarly in sources, I can go ahead and add new attribute rows here, right? As in potential matches. So yes, it will save that view if I move over to another profile.
Cool.
Yep.
Are we able to customize or save these attributes as we did the profile views for our teams?
You mean like a default view?
Yeah, I think you answered that already.
Asking?
I think so.
For potential matches, you are able to have a default view for all those attributes that you show. I need to ask the team if that applies also for sources.
Okay.
I'll get back to you on that.
Will it persist post logout?
Oh, the potential matches, right? So will this persist post logout? It should. Let's log out. I'll get back to you on that, but it should.
Okay.
And I think it'll just, yep.
Okay. Can you expand on identifiers so that we can see the examples?
Identifier.
Frank,
sorry, what was
you
that?
might want to, Frank says, can you expand identifiers so that we can see the examples?
Hey,
I guess
Chris.
Oh, like
this
right
is
here?
Frank. Yes,
right
those are the
here. Okay.
identifiers. Yes, so I can see examples and the purpose of what that row would have for the different columns.
Got it. Okay, so
Thank you.
that identifier, if it's here. So it really is, I don't think. Let me go back to potential matches. I did see it. but there was nothing in it. Yeah, it was blank. So to my understanding for this specific entity type, it is the unique IDs would be the value.
Okay.
But
When we use it for member, we have like our Medicaid ID, Medicare ID, like those types of things that are nested under that.
yeah, under identifiers,
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Okay, so these would be identifiers that are coming from, let's say, a source system that's not necessarily the source system key. It would be other values that we would use to uniquely identify a product location or an individual as an identifier that's not from a source system. That's what I'm understanding.
Let's look at it.
Okay, because I see Charito Phillips says that would be the data source identifiers.
Yeah, so I need to get back to you on that in terms of what nested attributes live under this, Frank.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I'm just not having any data with it.
Yeah, and Carina, there's several other questions, but keep going and I'll ask some of these questions here in a bit. I just want to keep this flowing a little bit.
Yep, sure. Okay, so let's move on to dashboard. Awesome. So this is your dashboard view. And dashboard really is a way for you to get a sense of the distribution of data in your tenant. So for example, here I have the number of unverified addresses by states. I can also have activity log. So any kind of activities that happen within that tenant, any type of operational statistics, how many data were uploaded, how many were merged, how many were deleted. This is what this chart shows. In addition to also other charts that you can create using the UI modeler. So let's start with that UI modeler. Now let's put on the hat of a data admin, okay? And I want to model the UI for the dashboard for all of my users for their views. So again, I would use the UI modeler, same one that I used for profile. And what I do is I click on this profile statistic, which is under dashboard pages. And you see, these are the different chart facets that I currently have set up for this dashboard view. And let's create a new one. So let's actually delete this one. Okay. So here I can go ahead and drag any type of these general charts into any area in this UI. So let's say I want to know, or I want to get a distribution of organizations by state. And I want that chart view to be a pie chart. So what I'll do is from here, from these general charts, I'm going to head and I'm going to drop that into this empty space. I'm going to click on it. And here I see basically all the properties and parameters that I can fill in to define this chart. So I can define the title. So right now I could say, okay, organization. And the entity type, I can select the entity type. So in this case, I'm going to select organization. And the attribute that I want is state. Okay, so really what this means is that I want to see a distribution of all the organizations per state. I can go ahead and filter it, right? And I can say, okay, I only want to see basically data from the United States. I can go ahead and filter that here and also select basically what roles can view this specific chart. And I can select here if I want to show a legend, which I do. So I click that. And after I'm done with that, I can go ahead and publish this by clicking that button and it publishes. So it will then, this new view, so this specific chart will then show up in the dashboard. So let's go to that dashboard for all of the users for all views. So here it is, right? So once I publish it out. So now let's put on the hat of a data steward. So now I'm a data steward. This is my view. My data admin had configured or had modeled this default view for me. So now this is great. Love it. But there are some, changes that I want to do. Perhaps maybe organization by state is something of importance to me, and it's kind of below that fold. So I can go ahead and move that up here. In addition to also, I can go ahead and this save searches is taking up a lot of space. I want to go ahead and increase the width of this, right? So then I can have more real estate for that. So again, by doing these changes, this only affects my view. So it doesn't affect any other members in my team. It only affects my view. But the default view that my tenant admin had done in the UI modeler, that affects all views for all users. And that really, that really is the default view for all of that users to configure it. So instead of it being blank when they log in, they can, create that default view, but then your users can then go ahead and change their views based on their liking. Also, another thing is notice I don't have any notifications, and perhaps maybe I don't really get much notifications, or I don't have any tasks, right? So what I can then do is I can go ahead and remove this from my view. So then it doesn't really take up this valuable space, and I could fill that in with another chart. And then, so for here, in the future, if I do have any workflow tasks, I can go ahead and click this button and I can add and remove charts. So I can go ahead and re-add that notifications chart from this list. So this list is basically all of the available charts that have been configured for, for this specific tenant. And that's dashboard. Any questions on dashboard?
Probably. Just so many that I
Sure.
but kind of go back on some of the, how much more do you have? Like, are you going to show? Because I want to make sure we're still. Yeah.
So what about this? I'll also show the new navigation, and then maybe we'll reserve some time for Q&A.
Yeah, let's do that.
Sounds good. Okay.
Just want to make sure we get through it.
All right. So in the new UI, we currently have this left panel navigation, as you see here, right? And so, as I mentioned earlier, we received a lot of feedback on this navigation paradigm. We listened to them, we read them all. We definitely internalized a lot of this feedback. And so we went back to the drawing board with the thought in mind that how do we make it more seamless, faster, for you to navigate to the different pages. Okay, so this is the first peek in, so it's currently still in it's being developed. So what I'll show you is the prototype. It's the design. So you guys are going to get a sneak peek into what is coming and how the navigation paradigm is going to change for the new UI. So let me click on that.
That was exciting.
Yeah. So here it is. So here on the left panel, if I were to hover over it, right? So you will still get basically profile statistics, data quality. You'll get search, and then you also have the ability to create a new profile. So what we've done is we flattened it. So if you can kind of, I'm going to kind of toggle back and forth, right? So right now I'm in profile stats. We also have another dashboard page called data quality. So to get to data quality, I have two clicks. So I have to click on dashboard, then I have to click on data quality, right? And so we really wanted to eliminate that number of clicks. So in our new design, we've flattened it. So we no longer will require to click on a dashboard page and then go to its nested child page. So instead, we have this profile statistics dashboard that I just showed you. And also here, you have the data quality page that you can quickly navigate to. Okay. So let's say that we we clicked on a profile page. So right now I'm in Susan Smith's profile page. So let me go back to our current one and let's go to a profile page. So notice here, right? So if I weren't to go to any of its subpages like potential matches, sources, etc., I would again need to click on profile. Then I would need to click on its subpages here. So again, more clicks. So we wanted to eliminate that. So if I were in a profile, we've then put the secondary subpages here at the top, making them a lot more visible for you and a lot more accessible. So then you don't have to click on any other pages to get to it. So from here, we understand that when you are within the view of a specific profile, that you are working within that profile and you want to navigate to its other subpages. So profile, I can go to matches, relationships, etc., a lot faster. So that's another change that we've done. And finally, search. We understand how important search is. And what we've done is we've moved back the search, the keyword search here at the top. It used to be here at the bottom. So if I can go back here, right here, right? It used to be this view. So what we've done, sorry, hold on. Trying to get to my, okay. So what we've done is we moved it back to the header. Okay, and not only that, we've added some short keys. So as you see here, if I hover over it, right, I can, for a Mac, I have a Mac, so I can click on Command K, and then it will then automatically put my cursor here. So then I can search for it without having to move my mouse all the way up here. I'm typing, right? I'm searching, and then I can click on my short keys, Command K, and then I can go ahead and search for it. So that's an added bonus that we have for the search, just for the short keys. And that is the new navigation that we are going to come up with. So this will be releasing, I need to get confirmation, but it seems like the beginning of next year, right? For the new UI. So this will be the new navigation paradigm for the new UI.
Right. And next year is not all that far. So
I know, no, it's not. So the beginning of January, and I think after this, I need to get confirmation from the PM teams on the exact date.
okay.
Rena, I notice in the on the right side of that type ahead search box, there's a little drop down arrow. What's that going to be used for?
Sorry, Kurt, that is a design bug. It shouldn't be there.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Always, there's always little things that, everybody's going to notice. So I'm going to go ahead and with the questions. Seems like we still have a bunch of them left, and so it won't be just on the new piece right here. But to kind of go back, Ashley asks, if you select merge within the table view, will it merge all 6 records that are selected?
Yes. So if I were to go back, potential matches. Yes. So this button here is really merge all. And that's something that we are going to change. So then it's a lot more clear as to what this button refers to versus this button here within the rows or columns. So yes, and it's the same action as if I were to move over to table view. So if I have a bunch of these profiles and I say merge all, it'll merge all of these profiles.
Okay.
Was that the question?
Yep. I think,
Okay.
well, I think so. If not, Ashley can speak up. So sorry if I missed it, but does there already have to be a potential match on profile in order to perform the search filter and additional match, not a match activity? Or can you create a match task from scratch?
Really 2 different questions.
Sorry, Kelly. Kelly, go ahead.
No, I'm like, no, it's 2 different questions as you're reading it. I'm like, that's not even So basically what I'm asking is I see this cool functionality where you're able to filter on other folks and potentially add them into a task, right? So I really like that functionality. I think what I am asking more broadly is if I don't have a potential match on a person, but I know that there's another profile out there that is the same person, can I create a task for them and merge them?
Yes, you can. So right here in this tab, Find Matches, these will be a list of all of the profiles in this entity type. So in the instance that you say, okay, you know what, I'm not seeing this other Donald Sands, and I know there's another one on there, I can go ahead and search for him here, right? And then from here, let's say this is the profile. I can go ahead and merge it. I can say, okay, that's not a match, or I can save it on potential matches. And what this does is if I save it on potential matches, it will then bring it into the bucket of potential matches, which I can do later as well.
Got it.
Right
or
here.
assign it to somebody else, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
How many matches that we can see in that particular folder? So do you have any limits to save them as potential matches?
No, there will be no limits. There will be a limit on the view, like you see here, but not on this list. No.
All right. And another one more question. So since we have the crosswalk reference IDs, so if we merge these records, all the 4 records, does the crosswalk reference ID will be available for all 4 in the
Correct.
what is it?
Correct.
Okay.
And you can kind of see how they all are merged together also in the sources page. That's a better view of all how the swim lanes are merged together. Yeah.
Right. So,
Hi,
and then
Carina.
Torito, hi.
Hey, thank you for doing this. I have a question though. How about the search facets on the left-hand side? Can you show that?
Search facets.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yes. These ones, right?
Yeah.
So are you referring to what's the question about? Is it the first 5 values per attribute?
Yes. When we select the search facet, will it stick? Will it save it?
Yes. So this also
Okay.
saves it per entity type. So 2 things. One is I can pre-configure what facets I could show by default. And then the other one is from a user perspective, I can go ahead and, select attributes, and then it will save it the next time I log in.
And will also the numbers will reflect, just for example, we talk about if I'm going to select an attribute of degree and I click medical doctor, right? Will it give me just the number of that medical doctor in my universe?
So we're currently working on that. You're talking more
Okay.
about advanced search. So yeah, so Charita, we're
Right.
definitely, I believe that should be released soon
Okay.
for advanced search, but it currently is now available in faceted search, in quick filter.
Okay.
Yep.
Karina, I have a question. This
Hi,
is
Vivian.
Megan.
Hi,
Hey, I have a question. So today when I use the table view and I click certain attributes to display, but when I switch the entity and then seems like and then switch back and the attributes that I chose, so it's kind of lost. Will
You're-
it stick in the future?
Yes. So that was something I forgot to mention for search. We have also done some enhancements on search. That is one that was just released, I believe. If Abra is in this call, he can correct me. I think it was released in one of the weekly releases, which was Wednesday, but I'll confirm with you, Vivian.
Yeah, they ship it. Is
They
ship
ship it, yep.
released? Ship, it says.
Yep. So we had released that, Vivian.
Oh,
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, it saves.
And one thing else that I forgot to mention, and Sushant had asked me to do this, is this rollout plan slide, right? So that new UI that I had just walked you all through, it is now all currently available to all users. Again, you can try it out by switching it out. Customers can opt in to make that new UI the default and only view by raising a support ticket. right? Newer customers will only have that new UI enabled. So they won't have the ability to go back to classic UI. And most importantly also is the classic UI is scheduled to be deprecated with the 2023.1 release, which is on February 22nd. What this means is that on that date, all customer tenants will automatically be switched to the new UI. So I just wanted to relay that so you guys are all aware.
Thank you. Lots of great questions, and there's still a bunch more. So you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do
All
it.
right. We have an attribute called match score that shows up on potential matches view, and it's blank. What should be done to populate it? Is it related to data quality module to be configured? Is that?
Yeah. So let me go back. So match score, and I know Suchen is I'm gonna butcher this. How about this? Let me get back to you on what the match score is. Let me actually ask Suchen about it. But yes, to kind of generally answer your question, there's a way that you can configure the match score in the console when you configure match rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Carina, this is Steve.
Hey, Steve.
You're exactly right. With the match rule editor that is in the console, you'll have the ability to configure those match scores right there.
Yep.
Great. And we do have an online community. So anything to do with questions we don't get to answer today, go to community.reltio.com, ask your question there. I'll have either Carina or others help kind of answer some of that, and maybe even with a screenshot or two. So great questions. The other question is, my question was, well, I don't know if that I can go back to that. And let's see here, I'm scrolling. So Eva says, while creating an entity for attributes that are RDM driven, we were able to copy the selected value, but with the new UI, the copy does not work. Is this expected?
Okay, so so you're saying that for an attribute, a lookup type attribute, right? You're able to copy the value?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Chris. So if you try to create a new profile, so you're creating a new organization, and one of its attributes has an LOV. Do you have any attribute that has an RTM? Here, verification status. Right? Now, you don't.
Yeah. Oh, right here, sector.
Yeah, public. Okay. Now, in the old UI, once I select this public, you select the public. I was also able to do a copy of this public value. So we have a case where, we need this to be copied and then we put it in another field. But today it does not work.
So in edit mode, you're saying if I select public and you have a way to copy this right now, I can't, right?
Yes, you cannot.
Got it. Okay. Thanks for that feedback. I'll look into it. So your use case is you'll select public, and then that value you'll then
put in another field.
In another field. Got it.
What would be super cool is, see all those trash cans on the right? Since every attribute has a trash can anyway, maybe create a sort of combination icon, which is half trash can, half copy. And I select the part of the icon that I want to use.
Yeah, like a copy, or having an icon here, a copy.
I love it. I want to copy all the things. Good idea.
Yep.
Great. This is great. I love it. And anytime you do UI changes, there's always lots of questions, but lots of fun. And Kelly does say, and thank you so much for all your questions and things. She has dashboard is so much fun, nerdy stuff. And Mary even says dashboard's awesome. So another question, should we get separate licenses to customize the dashboards, or are there any dashboard comes with the tenant without extra costs?
Dashboard comes with the tenant at no extra cost. Yeah, it's part of the package.
Yeah, it makes sense. So if the admin updates the modeler, will it reset the changes that the data steward has made, such as reorganizing, resizing, etc.?
Yes, currently it does. And we definitely are looking into those kind of use cases, how to preserve it if I saved it. So, but to answer your question, yes, it currently does.
Yeah, and Alex says, if this is really Alex, because I think Alex is on here 4 times. So Alex says, yes, really looks cool and no need to follow the traditional approach, extract and build in PowerPoint. Cool feature by Reltio, awesome. And then another question, has any changes or improvements been done to the screen and steps for unmerging?
Are you talking about in Crosswalk? Maybe?
Yeah, so on the crosswalk screen, right, there's an option to select the crosswalk and unmerge, right? So especially if there are lots of crosswalks, it used to get a bit confusing. So just was wondering if any changes have been done to that or not.
No. So you're talking about this kind of
Yeah, so getting into the legend view, and I know unmerge is not a usual use case because maybe not a lot of places where it's done, but in some cases where there are lots of sources and then we are trying to do unmerge, the only way to do that was to use that legend view at the top. And it's kind of small and usually trying to figure out how to get to it. That was a main point. Yeah.
So we have a way now to also unmerge it using this list, because we did understand that this can get a little bit too overwhelming.
Right.
Right now, you only see one, but there is this unmerge icon here. If I want to then unmerge it, right now it's the only, crosswalk here. But if I had multiple ones, I'm trying to find one that has, then it'll have the unmerge button here as well. So you can kind of hover over that. Let me actually look for one. So then it shows.
But I think you can, Carina, this is Churrito.
Hi, Churrito.
I think you can only unmerge one by one. And I think in the great ideas, I asked if you can select the records that you want to do unmerge and do a one click to bulk unmerge it.
Oh, yes, that's right.
It's a bulk unmerge.
That's right. And that's something we'll definitely look into. In addition to also, Churrito, the ability to unmerge in the swim lane itself. I know that came from you too, right? Right here. Because currently we don't have that yet here. But we're also going to fix that as well.
So we only have 3 minutes and I'm going to try to get through some of these, but before everyone starts to leave, there is a survey at the end. So basically when you get out of Zoom, there'll be a survey that pops up. I definitely want your feedback for this one. And then other sessions, and more specifically, maybe around the UI or some other sessions if you're interested, because next year I'm starting to build the shows up. So I need to try to get some ideas from the group, which I have some already. So let's go to some more questions. I love the new prototype. Definitely answers some of my needs. Awesome. Max says, I missed how to add the search box at the top right. Is that just going to come with it, or does he need to do something?
No. It'll come with it. And so the short key that I was referring to is, for example, right now, right, I have to move my cursor over here to start typing. But I don't have to do that, right? I can just click on Command key and my cursor will automatically, go on here and I can start typing, especially if I'm creating something or searching something. We just thought it's a great shortcut to access.
So that will be 2023.1?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
And then Kelly says, remind me of how often do you release changes in general? So generally you do it every week, but I think we're holding off for the rest of this year. Is that right? Just because, we don't want to, you tell me, Carina, is it?
Yeah, so we won't have a weekly release the week after Christmas.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, but we are going to still have weekly releases up until then.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe it was like during Thanksgiving week.
Thanksgiving week we didn't have a weekly.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it possible to share the recording of this session? Yes. This is going to be recorded. This will be shown on community.reltio.com. Click the events, past events. I should have this up by Monday. So I have a profile where it shows error code, so missing attribute, which is mandatory. So when I go in the old UI, the profile page, it doesn't show that error code. So missing attribute, which is mandatory. So in the old and the new UI, are they in sync currently?
They should be, but that's something I need to ask engineering to investigate.
Yeah.
I can definitely follow up on that. And we have the person who asked that?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're in the middle of our implementation right now, Karina, so that could potentially be what's going on, but please do ask.
Okay, Kelly, I'll definitely follow up.
Okay, thanks.
That should happen. Okay.
Kelly, you have a lot of questions on here, so I don't know if they've been
Yeah,
answered yet.
you can,
Okay.
don't worry about that really long
Okay.
one. I can follow up with you on that.
Okay, and again, some of these questions that you're asking, there's others. So if you want to push those out onto the community and ask there, and then I can do some of that as well. But so Kevin says, when will the Reltio Academy reflect the training on the new UI? I think there's actually one out right now. I talked to the training guy during the session. There's one there. So make sure you go take it and take a look. And then Max says, search for crosswalk count, greater than 1. Frank says, this was stellar. Thank you so very much. Kurt says, I'd like to reiterate the desire to have Kurt recent profiles viewed available for the drop-down list and appears when I click into the search box with an exclamation point.
Yes. It's gonna be there, Kurt.
Great.
I
think
Oh,
we
there it
answered.
is, Kurt.
Aha, love that.
Yeah.
See, wow. You ask, you receive.
You made my day. My Thursday is complete.
We are past time, everybody, and there's still 73 people on here, so that's crazy. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and thank you so much, Karina, for showing us the new UI. Please go to community.reltio.com. Also take the survey, for any questions. We want to make sure that we have those answers. Karina will, I promise you, get a lot of those answers out.
Yeah,
So
will do.
great stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know I enjoy it, and I love the questions. So, they're not always easy to get to. So you got to get a balance between the demo and how much do we get through the demo and then the questions. But I think it's always good to have folks to have access to folks like you, Karina, the expert that does this stuff on a daily basis. So that's all the time. We're actually past time. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you next week for what is it? The data, I forget it, but we do have another session coming up next week and into the next. So we have 2 more to go. So thanks, Karina. Thanks, everyone, for all of your many questions. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
It was a great session. Thank you.